Greetings, fellow humans. Welcome to the Brandon Lunch Bunch. We're a group of business owners and professionals in Central Florida, and we're getting together to share tips and ideas on doing business in these stay-at-home COVID times. Online meeting services provided by a Better Choice Network Solutions. Brandon Lunch Bunch is a production of Pacesetter Media.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Dave Loeb. I'm your host for your June 4th Brandon Lunch Bunch today. I am going to be talking about how to do this, how to add one of those to your site or to your feed and OBS software. Darren, could you introduce yourself and what you're talking about?
Of course. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for having me. My name is Darren Dennington from Service with Style, Secret Shopping and Consulting. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the leadership traits, right? During tough times, you need strong leaders. And I want to discuss a little bit about some characteristics and some leadership traits that I feel that business owners absolutely need to display right now. So thanks for having me.
Thanks. Danielle.
Good morning, everyone. I am going to talk a little bit about a new piece of legislation that came down the pike late last night. So fresh out of the house.
Excellent. Thank you. Mac.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Harold McIntosh. Everybody calls me Mac, and I am a financial advisor with the Principal Financial Group. And today I'm going to be talking about the dearth of information and misinformation that we have available to us today.
Thank you. And Ryan.
Yeah, hi, good morning. I'm Ryan Cabrera with Champion Payments. We are a point of sale and payments technology firm here out of Tampa Bay. And today I'm going to be talking about responding to negative reviews.
Thank you. Danielle, you're up first. Please take it away.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to shift my gaze over off into what you think will be the abyss, but I'm going to refer to my notes so that I'm telling you exactly the correct thing, because telling you the wrong thing right now would not be so great. There's plenty of confusion and misinformation. There you go, Mac, out there. I don't want to be adding to it. So late last night, late for the Senate, I guess, about 7 o'clock, I think it was, the Senate passed the House version of the Paycheck Protection Flexibility Act. There's a mouthful and a half for you. So as you know, the Paycheck Protection Program allows you to have to spend 2.5 times your monthly average payroll over the course of 8 weeks on payroll expenses and other expenses as outlined by this really complicated program. The Flexibility Act that was just passed last night extends that 8 weeks to 24 weeks. Original applicants and those who have already received funds can opt to keep their weeks at 8 instead of extending to 24. And some of the reasons for doing that might include some of the Internal Revenue Service tax rebates and that sort of thing. So if you're working in using some of those rebates, then you might want to consider not extending your weeks to 24. But that's something you definitely want to talk to your tax professional about, or even your banker. So whoever is in charge of kind of giving you advice about how to spend your business money, that's the person you should talk to. They also dropped the expenditure from 75% to 60%. So the original bill required you to spend 75% of the funds on payroll. The other 25% could be spent on utilities, mortgage interest, rent payments, etc. But now they've dropped that to 60%. The catch is that it's a cliff. So if you do not spend 60% on payroll, you get $0 forgiven. So be very aware of that. The final and maybe the most important thing is for those of us, me included, lots of business owners included, we're looking at having to pay back a chunk of the PPP money just because of various circumstances. But that payoff period is now extended from 2 years all the way through 5 years, but the interest rate has remained at 1%. So in sum, 8 weeks to 24 weeks. 75% payroll down to 60% payroll with that cliff, and then a 5-year payoff instead of a 2-year payoff. The president has not yet signed it, but there is no indication whatsoever that he isn't going to. The House and the Senate both have stated that they expect the president to sign it when he manages to get around to it. So no concern on that front. So we should be good to go, I would think, by the end of the day, if not tomorrow. So look forward to those changes when working with your PPP money and getting it forgiven. That's all I got.
Thank you so much. Darren.
Well, thank you. And what Danielle was talking about is a lot of what goes through my mind right now is the ever-changing environment that we're in right now. And how do you show leadership? How do you guide your business through when things are changing and changing? Well, I think it's identifying what type of leadership traits you need to be utilizing for the current situation. And when I think about leadership, right, I grew up in Canada and played a lot of hockey, and the leader was always the kid with the C on his jersey, right? Usually the best player and the most goals, and we always thought because he could stick handle and score, that's why he was the captain. But when I look back at it now, he always pulled the best out of us, right? He challenged us to do better and better. And that's how I kind of look at leadership. It's hard work, and you've got to express the right characteristics, the right traits at the right time. The leadership traits that we identified maybe 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a couple of years ago, are completely different than what's needed now. And I always feel that the first level of defense, the first piece that needs to go into place is creating the environment, right? If you have any type of people following you, whether it's in a business or a hockey team or a political arena, or if you're the leader of your local Girl Scout troop, the first thing you do is you create this environment, and usually that starts with the morale, right? The employee morale. Do the people want to be there? Are you establishing the right culture, which means you have the right team in place? A leader to me is you're there to pull the best out of people, right? You're trying to pull everybody together. And these traits that I've been so used to in hospitality, a major part of what I usually do is present. And the favorite topic, my favorite out of the last 10 years, has been 9 leadership traits required for success in hospitality, right? We work a lot with restaurants. And these were 9 leadership traits that I felt possibly wouldn't work well in other businesses or work well in other environments, but in the restaurant, that's what was critical. And it went a lot to integrity and earning respect and communication and all these different things. Well, I want to challenge you out there, if you're a leader in any environment right now, what leadership traits do we need from you? With the social unrest, maybe we need your voice. Maybe we need your involvement. If you're running a business, maybe you need to be a dynamite communicator right now. You've got to play the quarterback and call the plays and keep your whole team on the same page while we try to work through this. Integrity is obviously a trait that you like to see in the people that you follow, that you put your trust in. And for me, leadership kind of comes down to not necessarily one person at any time, but in business, it comes down to a team environment. And if you can build your model on a strong leadership team, a strong group of people that see eye to eye and you respect and trust each other, that's a big deal. And any leadership team has to start with that trust, right? You've got to earn the trust of everybody else on your management or leadership team before you feel able to contribute and that you have the sense of belonging. And everything comes down, and I've said it several times already, but it's the respect. If I'm going to do anything for you and follow you and want to work with you and put my heart and soul into where we're going together, I have to respect you. And respect is not just simply because you're in a position, right? It's I don't care what position you're in. It's the actions that you take. So leadership is not a position; it's an action.
Thank you so much. And Mac, you're up next, please.
Hey, There I am. So today, what I'd like to talk about is the massive amount of information that we have available to us, and what do we do with this? How do we manage it? Well, I want to start with a little bit of a history lesson. So when I was growing up, we had 3 TV channels. We read the newspaper and we listened to the radio. Absorb that for a second. 3 TV channels. How ridiculous. I mean, today, now that we have streaming on top of cable, there's literally thousands of channels that are being produced that you can go out to and find information. Also, when I was a kid, the word Google was only associated with a cartoon character named Barney Google. That's the only time I ever heard the word Google was related to Barney Google. Well, now today, we all know about Google. I mean, Google's this huge information and technology company, and it's even has its own catchphrase. It's become common now. You want to know something, you tell your friend, well, Google it. Just Google it. So we do that. And it'll take us, usually there'll be some good information there, but when you Google something, not just one website comes up, multiple websites come up. So now you've fallen down a potential huge rabbit hole, and there's no way of knowing where all that is going to take you. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, that's where people like me and the people that are on this broadcast, that's where we come in. In any area that you're trying to get good information and complete something, you need to work with a professional. That's our mission. Our mission now today, more than anything else, is to help you sort through all this information and make informed decisions. That's what my mission is with all my clients. I can't tell them what to do, and I'm not going to tell them I'm not the boss, but I'm going to help them get organized, and we're going to put the data together in a way that we can make informed decisions. So, my message today is when you need help, don't Google. Or if you Google to help yourself find a financial professional and look for someone, reach out to people that you know and get references so that you can work with people that can be trusted. So in my area, I'm going to give you a tip. One of the tips of the day is if you're looking for a financial advisor and you've met someone and you want to get a little more information, here's my PowerPoint today. Brokercheck.com. Go to brokercheck.com, enter the person's name, and you can get a history there of what they're licensed to do and if there have been any disciplinary actions against this person. So the message of the day, look out for the information that's out there. It's not all good. Get yourself someone that can help you sort through it. Mac with the Principal Financial Group. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. And Ryan, please take it away.
Hey guys, Ryan Cabrera with Champion Payments. We are a point of sale and payments technology firm. And what I want to talk about today is many of our small businesses, because most of the small businesses that we serve are going to be people that are accepting payments at point of sale. So your retail stores, your restaurants, dry cleaners, auto shops. And many of these types of places are very dependent on, what Google or Yelp or some other technology that's used to rate businesses is going to say about them and what their rating is. And as much as we all try to do a great job, and as much as we all, handle our business and hire well and do all of these things, inevitably there's going to be some instance where either the ball gets dropped or we end up with a customer that nobody's going to please. However, when they put a review online that is negative, these negative reviews are out there for public consumption, and the way that you handle it is important because other people are going to see. And if they see the way you handle it, many times what can happen is you could turn something that looks like a negative about your business into somebody being able to read the review and ultimately make a decision for themselves that maybe that customer was just being unreasonable. And so I'm going to give you 5 steps on how to handle a negative review. The first one is apologize and sympathize. The first step towards fixing a problem is obviously acknowledging that one occurred. And so regardless of what happened, and again, this is important, regardless of what happened, a simple apology and or sympathy or an expression of empathy for your customer's experience goes a long way. And again, it's important because other people can see this. You want to promote what happened. So the famous crab cakes weren't up to par the day that you came by and visited our restaurant. If they're what you are known for, and you want to reiterate that, it may be important to say, hey, our crab cakes are usually a hit. We're sorry to hear that they weren't up to par when you visited. Why don't you come in and get one on us on the house, and maybe we can make it better. It's also important. That was step 2, was to promote, maybe the item that they were complaining about, or something along those lines. Kind of turn it into something that's a negative into a positive. The third step would be to move the conversation offline. You've apologized and sympathized. You've shown some empathy. You've tried to, answer their specific, complaint. And now it's time to move it offline, by offering, an email address or a phone number for the person that gave the negative review to call or contact you to get, some sort of specific resolution to their issue. The fourth point is to keep it simple. It's important to keep it simple, and maybe avoid getting into too much detail or a lengthy conversation on a review platform. And that's why it's important to move it offline. And keeping the response simple will help, because you'll look like, hey, look, they must have taken care of this, right? Because you kept it short and sweet. And the fifth point is probably the most important. And this is important for not just negative reviews, but also for positive reviews. And it's always respond. You always want to respond to reviews. People leave a good review. You want to maybe just a simple thank you or glad to hear it. We love having you guys as a customer, whatever, response you can give is good, but you always want to respond so that it doesn't look like, you just have reviews that are racking up and nobody's kind of paying attention. Also, your response, especially to positive reviews, will help, with your SEO and things like that. But it's an important thing. And it's important just to be the type of business owner that is on top of things, that is caring for your customers. As you grow, sometimes people end up with marketing staff. They can obviously do this in kind of a surrogate fashion for you. But responding to negative reviews is very important. You want to, just to review, you want to apologize and sympathize. You want to use this as an opportunity to promote something through the review. You want to move the conversation offline, keep it simple, and always, always, always respond.
Thank you, sir. That is good stuff. What I want to talk about today, another tutorial on using OBS. So I'm going to share my screen. And OBS is Open Broadcast Software Studio is what the current version is. Oh, I have to click the right place to share screen, though. Of course. I'm going to turn off the video because once I get over to OBS, I'll be there anyway. So here's my usual screen. And you see here a lot of sources. I have a lot of layers here with different things I can show. Here's where we left off last week. We created this lower third with the fancy background bar. What I want to do now is show how to do another type of layer, another type of slide, if you want to call it that. And it's just one of these. It's adding a logo and some text. In this case, it's "We'll be right back" text with a white background. I'm going to do it for this purpose of a "We'll be right back," but it can be whatever slide you want. In fact, all of these are variations on this. So let's go back to our training scene. And again, we're working in sources which are functioning like layers in Photoshop and other graphics programs. First thing we want to do, I'm going to do is create a white background. Color source. I'm going to name it white background. Click OK. And it's already selected to white. I'm going to leave it at white. If I wanted to, I could resize it down. It's used, but it's just a big white blob, so it doesn't much matter. Then I'm going to add a logo. To add a logo, you add an image to your sources. I'll name it PSM logo. And then you have to find that image on your computer. You're going to have to know where to find this, wherever you find and store these graphics on your computer. I had already set it up ahead of time, so I could just go right to it. It's too big, so again, you click a handle and size it down. And this is important if you're used to using other software. In video, often when you click a handle and drag it, you don't have to do any extra key. It automatically keeps it proportional. If I wanted to do it disproportionately, I'd have to hold a shift key. So I'm holding a shift key now. But if I click on a handle and start to drag without holding it, it resizes proportionally. So that's pretty handy. Add text, much like we did last week. So we're adding another text layer. Oh, I apparently used that elsewhere. Type the text in here. Again, it's a little clunky how you do text in OBS, but this is what you just have to deal with. I'm going to size this down a little bit by clicking in the select font. I also need to change the color because it's a white color. You see up here, here's the square that has a text, but since it's white text on white background, we're going to have to make this some other color. And of course, I can change the font also to, let's pick something else just to play. Move that down here. I would right click this, transform, center horizontally. And I'm going to click on the logo, right click, transform, center horizontally. And the last step, click on the first item, the first be back text, shift, click on the last item. So now I've selected all three items that I just added. I'm going to right click, group selected items, and I'm going to name that group be back group. I might have used this elsewhere in OBS, so it might tell me not to, I can't use this. Oh, that works. So now I can turn this on and off in one click, the be back group. And notice the be back group is on top of everything else. If I had it below and I turn on be back, the lower third would still show up. So I make sure that this be back group is on top of everything else. So now it covers everything. And I just want to show you one other version of doing this. This is a very plain background, very plain text. I've also created a full graphic in Photoshop with a little fancier design to it. So I'm just going to add an image to OBS. Click OK. I'm going to have to find that image on my computer. I already created it here. Found it. Click OK. Resize it down. Again, not holding Shift, just clicking on a handle. So if you can do this, something with a little fancier text, it's not super fancy, but you can see that it's a gradient background. The text has some 3D effect on it, and it is just one image. If you can create something like this in Photoshop or elsewhere, you can also do this whole thing with one layer and one import. If you don't have access, you can also do it this way by creating a group. And once I'm back, that's all I've got for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. I do want to remind you, of course, to remember to get up and exercise, get moving. Let me get back to my other scene. And because our next Brandon Lunch Bunch, by the way, this is yet another layer I've created in OBS. It's the Brandon Lunch Bunch next bunch layer. Next Brandon Lunch Bunch is Thursday, June 11th at 11 a.m. Thank you so much for joining us. See you then.